Hi and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is great for us to be together. And I'm excited. It's going to be Rabbi Sobo and myself and Grant Hallis here to lead you tonight. And Rabbi Sobo, if you want to wave, since you're here for the beginning of the service and for part of it, thank you this is an attempt at Rabbi Sobo trying to do two things at once, which we know she can do already, but we're going to watch it. So we'll begin with the words of Hine Matov.
מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. חסד יבנה ידעי די די ידעי די עולם חסד יבנה ידעי די די ידעי די עולם חסד יבנה yada dai 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 yada dai dai olam chesed yibane yada dai 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 yada dai dai I will build this world from love yada dai 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 yada dai dai. And you must build this world from love. Yada dai 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 dai. And if we build this world from love, yada dai 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 yada dai dai, then God will build this world from love. Yada dai 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 olam chesed yibane yada dai 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 yada dai dai.
At this time, if you have your candles, I invite you to have a responsible adult to light them. I'm going to ask Rabbi Sobo to lead us in the candle lighting.
Give a sec for everybody to get their candles lit. Candles with a fan. We'll see how long they stay lit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Yalla la 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 lecha dodi Yalla la 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 likrat kala Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat dekabela אמור וזכור ודיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת לתחילה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מכתם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלך נגלה לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה יאללה לה 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 לך דודי יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה יאללה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. We now continue with the Chatzi Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה בנחמתה דמירן בעלמא באמרו אמן. We now continue with the Baruch Hu. Please rise if you are able. Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Leolam Vaed. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Now and forever.
On page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitfuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila. Adonai tzivaot shemo, El Chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. And on page 33, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
We now continue with the Shema on pages 34 and 35. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha. Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha v'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lichiyot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. On page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
We now continue with the Micha Mocha on page 40. Tehilo tosefele, Torah tehilo tosefele. Malchutecha uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amheru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugolo miyad chazach mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'chamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us with wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'chamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'chamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Lechaim. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There's a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. And eternity utters a day. I die, die, I die, die, I die, 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 die. I die, die, I die, 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 die. I die, die, I die, die, I die, 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 die. I die, die, I die, 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 die. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanera, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imaot, U'mevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Morid hatal, Mechakel Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatzir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh u'shimcha kadosh, u'dekoshim b'chol yom yahalu lecha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Please join me on the top of page 55, and if you are standing, you may be seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. You are with us in our prayer and our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levarecha b'yir'ah na'avod. On page 59, when we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You make us little less than divine. adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimecha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We now take a Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Yehiyu liratzonim refim refim. והגיוני בי לפניך. יהיו לי רצונים רבים רבים. והגיוני בי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I wanted to share with you just a few thoughts about about this Shabbat and this Torah portion, and take into consideration that it's such an interesting time right now. There are three things that are sort of in the matrix of time in my mind, which include the fact that we just completed observing Tisha B'Av, which is, of course, the holiday, or I don't want to say holiday, but the commemoration, if you will, of the destruction of both of the temples, and really a day of communal mourning for all the many losses that have been experienced through the Jewish life cycle. I mean, of all time, when we think about the Holocaust, when we think about destruction of the many pogroms, all of these things go into this collective type of grieving. And when we exit from this, we now move into a Shabbat that is known as Shabbat Nachamu. Nachamu is to mean a Shabbat filled with comfort and consolation. And if ever there were a week to be needing comfort and consolation, it would be following the mournful prayers that we recite for Tisha B'Av. It is also, we are recognizing that we are 7 weeks out from Rosh Hashanah. And I know that we understand that 7 is a really cyclical number. It's one that we see all the time with the 7, with the wedding, when we walk around 7 times before going underneath the chuppah, when we talk about Shabbat and on the 7th day. So here we are with this sort of a moment to pause, to reflect, to look for comfort. And I think that in conjunction with the fact that we are right about to start thinking, I mean, tomorrow's August, and for most people, that's when school really begins. And so we're looking into a new year, not just the Jewish New Year, but the new school year. And we're thinking about this pandemic that we are in. And it puts us in a very interesting frame of mind. One, so that when I looked at the Torah portion this week, it really spoke to me. This week's Torah portion is Ve'et Hanan, which is beginning with this idea of Moses pleading to God because he so badly would like to go into the land of Israel. Moses continues to discuss and lecture with the Jewish people their need to pay attention and follow God's laws, that they should always be worthy of them. Moses talks about designating special areas for cities of refuge. There is a review of the covenant of Sinai and the 10 Commandments, and specifically going through and reading the Shema and V'ahavta again, commanding the people that they should show their love to God and to warn them not to commit idolatry when they go into this new land, into this uncharted territory, by worshiping gods of the nations that they will hopefully then conquer in Israel. One of the things that I found fascinating was this section in Devarim 4, which is the 4th chapter in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy. It says to think about all of these days from essentially since the beginning of the earth, since it's been created. Has there ever been anything that has occurred or anything like this before? And I feel like for so many of us, we are experiencing unprecedented times, that truly it is a time where we say, have we ourselves experienced anything like this before? Now, I know that it feels like most of this is completely unique, and I would say it is. I don't think that there's been any other generation that's experienced a pandemic in the world of Zoom. Perhaps a pandemic, but certainly not in the world of Zoom. And so as we have been navigating this in unprecedented times, we are ourselves, we are at risk, if you will, of falling into the same patterns that Moses warns the Jewish people not to fall into, which is to feel despondent, to feel hopeless, to feel that there is no way through this. And as we are coming up to a year since the Oregon district shooting, I think that this week, again, following Tisha B'Av and entering us into this time of remembrance, we can very much so feel lots of sadness and despondency and hopelessness. and recognize that we are moving into times that are uncharted. But I think, at least according to what I've read, that even though people are drawn to ask the question, where is God in these moments, and what's going on with God in the suffering, that this is Moses' response to them, at least at this time, which is to say, you have experienced God's power, you have experienced God's presence in difficult times before. And so what is it that would not let you be able to experience God's presence yet again? And now I know that theologically that can raise a lot of questions, and I don't want to go into all of the theological complications of that, but I do want to say that I think the point in that is a good one. It tells us that, this people is uniquely prepared to appreciate God even in difficult times. And I feel like right now, as we are going into a very difficult time, preparing again for things that we don't know what they are, but also remembering a very devastating loss that just happened a year ago, that we are in a unique experience of knowing that the hardest part this last year is behind us, but it's also built us up with resilience. My hope is, again, that we've had some sort of a building up of our community, especially during this time of isolation, that we've really worked hard to reach out. But Dayton, I believe, as a whole, has become so much stronger. And so with this, I think that we take the lesson of resilience and reflection and strength from knowing that we have been through hard times and that we will continue to go through hard times, and we will be even more strong as a result. And I know that as this next week will bring a lot of us to have a lot of reflection, I hope that you will reach out to people that you know, people that you love, if you need to reflect. I know that the Dayton community has places and areas downtown in the Oregon district for people to gather to remember. But as we enter into this Sabbath, I hope that we will remember Nachamu, that this is a Shabbat of comfort, and that it's okay to take care of ourselves and to turn to God and to turn our strength towards our tradition when we're looking at unprecedented times. Something for us to think about on the Shabbat. At this time, we think of those in our community who are in need of healing. We especially think of Maxine Weinberger, Hyla Weiskind, Barb Gronefeld, Gail Russick, Melinda Glovka, Tamir Rastetter, Jim Hedger, Ezra Melech ben Rachel Sarah, Mike Ammons, Helen Fine, Jeremy Wise, Paul Levine, Ed Bulin, Harvey Olson, Christine Wagner, Candace Smith, Tracy Huddleston, Joe McKenna, Mark Romanowski, Jerry McDonald, Richard Lieberman, Joel Pinsker, Ralph Schwartz, Marty Sacker, Sandy Sapphire, Laura Holtzinger-Levin, Avraham ben Avraham Visara, Bob and Gert Kahn, Dave Bussey, Ron Levine, Jay Bainbridge, Chelsea Smith, Shava Eta, Rory Freistler, Bernice Brandt, Deborah Seidel, and Cy Ballas, and of course, all who we are naming in our heart at this time. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu, Mishavarech v'Yarpei et Cholim. May the one who has blessed and kept our ancestors in every generation continue to bring strength and blessing to those we love in our community and who are in need of healing. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We now continue with the Aleinu on page 282, and if you are able, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latetz gudula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ve'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
This time, we think of those who we have lost. We remember those we have most recently lost. We are in a period of Shiva for Emily November and a period of Shloshim for Edith Greengold, Lorraine Kotler, and James Stewart. We also remember this evening those whose yard sites are occurring this week. We include Lesser Asher, Utali Balin, Fanny Barry, Harry Bierman, Jesse Bierman, Gloria Brackman, Solomon Moses Kaplan, Stanley Donenfeld, Morris Epstein, Kathleen Goldberg, Maureen Burke, Theodore E. Goldenberg, Herbert M. Harris, David Heller, Rose Heller, Harry Israel, Lillian Israel, Deborah Klass, Harry L. Launer, Blanche W. Liebensberger, Arthur K. Margolis, Shirley Miller, Benjamin M. Patterson, Muriel Robbins Raffel, Elizabeth C. Rothenberg, Jenny Green Saul, Jacob Schwartz, Carrie D. Semmelman, Louis T. Schulman, Bertha H. Silverman, Sylvia L. Solomon, Edwin Traeger, Sidney Weinstein, Mark Weitz, Joseph H. Wolfe, James H. Weiss, and of course all who we are holding dear in our hearts, whose names, if you'd like, you can read out loud or perhaps pronounce more correctly. And I invite those of you who are in mourning or who are remembering to please rise first. And now I invite the rest of us to rise as well for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find before you. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divra chute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lalmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom bimromav, buya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always and only be for a blessing.
We shall now continue with Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kinshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho le'ahava uvratzon yinkilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila le'mekrayin kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat L'chaim. We now continue with Hamotzi on page 302. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want to say thank you for all of you for joining us and to ask if any of you would like to take yourselves off mute, then you can if you'd like to say hello to each other and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. But it's really been, again, lovely to be with you in your homes. Shabbat Shalom.
And Shabbat Shalom.